My phone buzzed at 2:17 a.m., the kind of hour that only brings bad news or miracles. I was half asleep in our quiet bedroom, the room dark except for the faint glow of the screen cutting through the night. Unknown number flashing urgently. "Hello," I mumbled, voice thick with sleep. A woman's voice responded, professional yet laced with haste. "Mr. Thompson, this is St. Mary's Hospital. Your wife Laura is in labor. Come quick." My heart slammed against my ribs like a trapped animal. Laura wasn't due for another 3 weeks. We'd been counting down, dreaming of the moment. I'd kissed her goodnight just hours earlier, my hand resting on her round belly, feeling our daughter kick playfully, as if eager to join us. I threw on whatever clothes were nearest, grabbed my keys with shaking hands, and bolted out the door. The drive was a terrifying blur, red lights blurring into streaks, empty streets echoing my racing thoughts. Early labor, but it'll be okay. Babies come when they're ready. I texted her frantically, "On my way, love you forever." No reply came. The hospital rose ahead like a beacon, its fluorescent lights harsh and unforgiving against the pre-dawn sky. I sprinted to labor and delivery, chest heaving, sweat already beating. "Thompson family?" the receptionist asked. I nodded desperately. A nurse appeared, her face calm but unreadable. "She's in room 312. The baby's almost here. Congratulations." I pushed through the heavy door and froze in place. Laura lay on the bed, exhausted, her face pale and glistening with sweat, yet glowing with that post-birth radiance. In her arms, wrapped in a soft pink blanket, was a newborn tiny wrinkled, perfect, in every fragile way. Nurses bustled around, smiling. But then the baby stirred, opened her eyes, and deep, unfamiliar hazel stared back at me. Not the blue I'd pictured from our family traits, not even close. Something inside me cracked silently. Not overwhelming joy, not yet. Just a cold whisper slicing through the warmth. "Those aren't my eyes. Who are you?" Laura and I had built our life brick by brick over 9 years together, 6 as husband and wife. We met at a mutual friend's wedding. She was the stunning maid of honor in an emerald gown, laughing freely at my awkward, clumsy dance moves on the crowded floor. I was a project manager at a tech firm, structured and reliable, always planning 3 steps ahead. She was a freelance photographer, free-spirited and artistic, forever chasing the perfect light in golden hour sunsets. Opposites in every way, yet we fit like puzzle pieces we'd never known were missing. We dreamed of a family early on, but it took 2 grueling years, countless negative pregnancy tests, tear-soaked pillows, specialists' offices before turning to IVF as our last hope. When Laura finally whispered, "I'm pregnant," in our driveway one rainy evening, we collapsed into each other's arms, sobbing with raw relief, as if the universe had finally granted mercy. I attended every ultrasound, felt every flutter and kick through her skin, personally painted the nursery walls a soft, hopeful yellow. Our little miracle, we called her, hanging tiny onesies and dreaming of first steps and bedtime stories. But in the final months of pregnancy, subtle shadows crept into our bliss. Laura's photo shoots, multiplied weekend trips to the city, late nights hunched over her laptop editing client work. Her phone transformed into an inseparable companion, its password suddenly changed without explanation. Client confidentiality and privacy, she'd insist when I gently asked, her tone a mix of defensiveness and dismissal. I'd catch her smiling secretly at incoming texts, then swiftly lock the screen, the glow reflecting in her eyes before vanishing. "Just a funny meme from a colleague." She'd laugh it off, but her gaze would slide away from mine, avoiding the questions in my stare. I dismissed it all as pregnancy hormones, the overwhelming stress of impending parenthood, the physical toll of carrying our child. Deep down, I needed to believe her completely. Questioning her felt like a personal betrayal, like undermining the sacred family we were on the verge of completing. But doubt is a persistent, quiet seed. Once planted, it sprouts roots in the darkness of ignored suspicions, twisting deeper with every uneasy night. The hospital moment lingered like a ghost. When the nurse joyfully handed me the baby, our daughter, they all assumed I cradled her carefully, desperately searching her tiny face for traces of us. My dimple, Laura's widow's peak, anything familiar. Nothing matched. just those piercing hazel eyes, gazing up like they belonged to someone else entirely. The doctor offered congratulations, but his smile flickered uncertainly when I casually mentioned confirming paternity for the official birth certificate. Laura's head snapped up from the bed, her eyes narrowing. "What exactly are you implying?" she whispered sharply, laced with accusation. I forced a reassuring smile, murmured, "Just routine," and said nothing more. But that very night, locked in the sterile hospital bathroom with the door bolted, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, I ordered a discreet at-home DNA test kit online. Delivery set to my office address only. No dramatic confrontations. No accusations hurled in exhaustion. Just cold, irrefutable facts waiting to surface. 3 agonizing weeks later, the results arrived in a plain, unmarked envelope slipped under my office door while I was in a meeting. I locked myself inside, heart pounding like a war drum, hands trembling as I tore it open with a letter opener. The single page stared back mercilessly. Probability of paternity, 0%. The words blurred for a moment as the paper slipped from my numb fingers, fluttering to the carpet like a fallen leaf. Not premature labor. Not mere stress or hormonal whims. Pure, calculated betrayal, documented in clinical black ink. I sank into my chair, the relentless hum of the air conditioning deafening in the silence. Memories rewound in vivid, painful clarity. Laura's girls' weekend getaways, perfectly timed with her collaborator Alex's conference schedule. The way she'd subtly flinch or turn away when I'd rest my hand on her growing belly in the 3rd trimester. The ultrasound technician's prolonged, awkward pause when I'd excitedly asked about potential eye color inheritance patterns. I'd buried every red flag under layers of denial and devotion. I didn't scream into the void. I didn't flood her phone with furious calls. Instead, I printed multiple copies of the report, filed them meticulously, and drove home through rush-hour traffic with mechanical precision. Laura was in the nursery we'd prepared, with such love, gently rocking the baby not ours, in the glider chair humming a lullaby under her breath. The room smelled intoxicatingly of fresh lavender lotion mixed with the faint, underlying rot of accumulated lies. I placed the envelope deliberately on the changing table, amid stacks of diapers and tiny clothes. "Read it," I said, my voice flat and devoid of emotion, like a judge delivering verdict. She picked it up casually at first, then scanned the page, her face crumpling not in genuine remorse, but in raw animal panic. "This has to be a lab mistake," she stammered quickly. "We can order another test right now, I swear." I interrupted coldly. "I already did. Twice, from different labs. Same result." The room fell into suffocating silence, broken only by the baby's innocent coo, blissfully unaware of the storm. Then I laid out the full arsenal, printed bank statements revealing unexplained payments to a discreet fertility clinic far from our city, recovered text messages from her iCloud backup. "Can't wait to finally meet our little secret in person." Sent to him, her charming business partner Alex, the same man I'd warmly shaken hands with at her latest gallery opening, where he'd raised a glass and toasted slyly to exciting new beginnings for all of us. I'd smiled back, clueless, while he impregnated my wife behind my back. Laura collapsed into sobs, mascara streaking, begging desperately. It was only one time during the IVF wait I was so scared, so lonely. "I still love you, please." But love doesn't conceive and carry a child under false pretenses for 9 full months. I packed a single overnight bag with deliberate slowness, tucked the DNA reports into my briefcase, and walked out without another word. The nursery door closed behind me with a soft final click, the unmistakable sound of an entire life, painstakingly constructed, ending forever. From Part 4, The Silence That Healed Me, Resolution and Moral. The divorce unfolded with swift, surgical efficiency. No messy battles, just irrefutable evidence doing the work. Laura hired an aggressive lawyer at first, attempting to cling to the house, and shared assets by painting me as emotionally unstable. But the DNA results, text logs, and clinic receipts presented to the judge silenced her completely. I retained the nursery furniture as a quiet symbol. She kept the web of deception she'd spun. Alex vanished from her life. The instant legal papers named him as the biological father, cowardly ghosting when child support obligations materialized. The baby, her daughter, not ours, remained with Laura by court order. I signed away all parental rights without a second's hesitation, not from bitterness, but from crystalline clarity. I wasn't abandoning an innocent child. I was liberating myself from a monumental fraud that had hijacked my reality. I relocated to a modest one-bedroom apartment downtown, its bare white walls echoing at first with profound emptiness. Weekly therapy sessions became my lifeline, methodically unpacking the multi-layered grief of a stolen future, the simmering rage at serving as her financial and emotional safety net for nearly a decade. I delved into the dark psychology of betrayal, how chronic cheaters masterfully compartmentalize their dual lives, how devoted partners like me self-gaslight relentlessly to preserve the fragile illusion of security. Gradually, I released the self-blame for not spotting the signs sooner. Trust isn't willful blindness. It's a vulnerable choice, repeatedly exploited. I'd chosen wrongly, but I could choose wisely now. 4 months post-separation, a handwritten letter arrived in scented stationery. I named her Hope, after what we almost had. I hope one day you'll find it in your heart to forgive me. I read it once under the harsh kitchen light, then struck a match and watched it curl to ash in the sink. Forgiveness isn't a light switch flipped on demand. It's a fiercely guarded boundary. Some doors, once slammed shut by truth, remain bolted eternally for self-preservation. Today I approach dating with cautious optimism, eyes perpetually open to subtle flags. I volunteer as a mentor in a local support group for betrayed fathers, sharing hard-earned wisdom to help others identify the whispers I once ignored. The excruciating pain didn't shatter me. It forged me into something sharper, more resilient. Gazing into the mirror now, I recognize a man who endured the ultimate deception, not merely a false child, but an entire existence constructed on shifting sand. The raw truth didn't just dismantle her elaborate lie. It reconstructed me, unbreakable and alive. Thanks for watching this unflinching journey from illusion to empowerment. If this story struck deep, smash that like button, share it widely, and comment your takeaways below. Subscribe now for more gripping tales of quiet, devastating revenge and the hard-won freedom that follows. Stay vigilant always. Stay fiercely true. Your inner peace is worth every battle to protect.